Ever since the final result of the Orange Bowl, in which Georgia effectively ended Michigan's season before going on to win the national title in the college football season of 2021, Jim Harbaugh has been constantly linked to the NFL and a possible return to either having a new head coaching job at the Raiders, the Bears. Recently, there's been some fireworks about the Giants and him possibly having mutual interest. At this point, who knows? Because let's just lay the groundwork here before we talk about the two main possibilities, which seem to be the Raiders and Michigan. It seems like it's between those two. But before we get in depth, discuss each side, what each side has benefits to Harbaugh, among other things, let's just lay some groundwork. The main foundation that I want to lay is that no one, honestly, I don't think anyone knows at this current moment besides Harbaugh and his family what he's going to be doing or what his interests are. I don't think anyone knows. Harbaugh as a person is unpredictable. He is weird. He's quirky, awkward, whatever you want to call it. He's not your typical Joe head coach. He just isn't. So no one knows. He's been linked to these jobs before as well. I think a lot of people are treating it differently because he's on a high note now. This isn't like a cry for desperation at a new job like it was last year when he finished with a 2-4 record at Michigan. He's taken Michigan to its best season since 1997, won the Big Ten, went to the playoff. You know, he at the moment has reached the highest he ever has at his career at Michigan as a head coach. So what if he ends on a high note? It gets other NFL jobs to, unlike last year, offer him massive contracts, maybe give him control. It's rumored that Harbaugh wants to be the general manager along with being the head coach. So who knows? But that's just kind of my brief framework that I am laying out for you all. And today I am going to read 3 articles, one from 24/7 Sports, one from Bleacher Report, the other from thespun.com, all talking about Jim Harbaugh and the NFL. The 24/7 Sports one is more geared toward Michigan and college football in general, talking about how a lot of people think that Harbaugh will be for now and is more likely to be staying with the Wolverines. But today I'm just going to give my opinion, kind of read these articles as like background information. And yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell, and comment what you think is going to happen down below. Do you think that Jim Harbaugh is more likely to stay at Michigan or go to the NFL? And if you were an owner of an NFL franchise, would you want Jim Harbaugh as your head coach or would you not? Tell me down below. And first and foremost, I think it's appropriate to address the rumor that says he is going to be going away, the side that wants him at least first, and then we will address the Michigan side of things here. So first and foremost, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders angle, or the NFL angle, if you want to call it that. I'm calling it the Raiders angle here because it sounds like that's the main job where there is mutual interest. Like the Bears having a phone call with him today, it's been mainly about the only report about the Bears. It's been about it. And it was just a phone call, just a rumor, if that. And the Giants, there's also been potential for interest there. But the Raiders have been the main talking point. And it's interesting, too, because their interim head coach is actually interviewed today for the head coaching job, and he has plenty of player support. Las Vegas Raiders interim head coach will interview with the team Wednesday about talking on the job on a permanent basis. The Raiders went 7-5 under Bisaccia after he replaced John Gruden and earned a wild card berth in the NFL playoffs. The 61-year-old helped guide the team through a difficult period. Gruden resigned because of emails we all know about this. They were very inappropriate. A lot of debate surrounding that, but we're not going to get into it. It's a done deal. The Raiders also had to go through a lot of adversity. Henry Ruggs III and Damon Arnett were lost because of off-the-field circumstances, and despite this, Bisaccia, kept the team together, and they were competitive in the playoffs against a Bengals squad that has an amazing offense. He's done a really good job. And Derek Carr said that he is the right guy, and he has the team's support. So it's interesting here, because let's say that the Raiders beat the Bengals. The more playoff games the Raiders were to win, the harder it would even be to hire Jim Harbaugh and replace Bisaccia. It'd be very, very tough to do. Him losing to the Bengals, if Mark Davis does indeed want Jim Harbaugh, makes the case for removing the interim head coach from his position and bringing in Harbaugh would certainly make a better case. And this is what's happened. The Raiders here have an opportunity. They definitely could offer more money than Michigan does. Michigan, as all of our fans know and quote-unquote love, just kidding, Michigan is not largely invested in the football program or really in sports in general. It's kind of become an institution that wants to be the Harvard of the FBS in a certain stance. They're not willing to commit themselves to athletics, which in a certain sense disappoints me. At the same time, it's a school, so I can't really complain because the school's main priority, to be honest, is academics. But at the same time, here we are. So I'm not expecting Michigan, nor in a certain sense do I think they should pay like Jim Harbaugh an outrageous amount of money. But they should certainly give him a raise if they can. They should certainly try to entice him, and we'll get to it later. It sounds like they've tried to. They should give him more access through the NIL, looser transfer rules, etc. But the Raiders have Mark Davis. They're an NFL franchise, and it's been reported that Jim Harbaugh genuinely wants to return and win the Super Bowl. So maybe this isn't even about money or about support from the athletic department from Michigan. Maybe it's just, it was his first ever coaching position was with the Raiders, Jim Harbaugh. He likes the idea of working for the place where his coaching career all started, returning back to where he started and to finish the job and bring the Raiders a Super Bowl. Maybe that's just what he wants to do. And from what it sounds like as well, he would want full general manager power so he can manage the team. So he'd be head coach and general manager, kind of what like Bill Belichick is with the Patriots and what Bill O'Brien was with the Texans before, we all know, before he got axed. But that's just the Raiders angle. And I think that, personally, it would be hard for me to believe that Jim Harbaugh would leave to go to the Raiders unless they gave him an absurd amount of money. Like, let's just say $150 million for 10 years. Probably not that long, but some absurd amount of money. Like a home run offer that would be very tough to refuse. That's just my opinion, though. And knowing Jim Harbaugh and knowing my opinion, combining those two, it really doesn't matter. We're just talking about it and discussing it. The Michigan angle is a little more interesting if you're taking at it from a Michigan perspective. And if you're a Michigan fan, let me ask you this question as well. If Jim Harbaugh leaves, who would you want to replace him with? Actually, not even that. Would you rather have Jim Harbaugh leave and Luke Fickell come in, or Jim Harbaugh stay? Let's just ask that question. Let's put like a bold question out there, that being the bold question. Because despite what Jim Harbaugh did this year, going 12-2, winning the Big Ten, reaching the playoff, Michigan's only third 12-win season. This was an amazing season for Michigan. Despite the Orange Bowl blowout, it was amazing. It can't be erased from our memory. You can't downplay it. But anyway, It took him 7 years to win the Big Ten. This has been the only season where he's won more than 10 games. You look at this season, you know just in your head, looking at what Ohio State is and what Michigan State is, how Jim Harbaugh is getting a little old, and how it took him this long, would it really hurt all that much for him to leave and for us to bring in someone like Luke Fickell? This is, of course, assuming that we're more committed to athletics and we're willing to bring in a bigger guy. But seeing that it's also been reported that Michigan is trying to negotiate with Harbaugh and has given Harbaugh all he wants, whether it comes to NIL money or looser transfer rules, if they're willing to give him all that and he leaves still for the Raiders, why wouldn't they give that to someone else who's coming in? And why wouldn't they go out and make a good hire? So, despite Michigan obviously wanting Harbaugh, and I think at the moment because Harbaugh has reached a new level that I think Michigan fans do want him to stay if he can, I think a lot of Michigan fans, including myself, would agree if he left, it wouldn't be like Nick Saban leaving or retiring from Alabama, or Kirby Smart leaving Georgia. Would it sting a little? Yeah. But we know that it's not the end of the world. It isn't like a dynasty has been ripped from us and it might take decades, or we might not never see a dynasty or a coach like this again. That's not the case here. He's a good coach. He's a great coach. But remember, one great season does not make him an elite college football coach. And this isn't ripping him. This is just stating what I think is kind of the attitude of some Michigan fans. That's also why I asked Michigan fans that question. If Jim Harbaugh leaves and Luke Fickell came in, would he really be that upset? It also sounds like that Jim Harbaugh is negotiating, as I've mentioned several times before, with the university. He's reportedly, according to 24/7 Sports, discussing a new contract at Michigan following a banner season, and the mutual interest with the Raiders is kind of pressuring Michigan in a certain sense to try and negotiate Harbaugh and keep him within Michigan. I think right now it's early, but the safest thing we can say about Harbaugh is he'll get a new deal this year, reports ESPN's Pete Thamel on SportsCenter. Whether that comes from Michigan or the NFL, the Raiders is the definition he'd most likely be going to in the NFL. It should be destination. That's an error that is not by me. It's unfortunately by 24/7 Sports. He has a relationship with Mark Davis. Whether that bonds them together or makes things more complicated remains to be seen. There is at least mutual interest, and at least both are peeking at each other right now. The Raiders still have to run a process, and they need a GM, whether that's a new GM or whether Harbaugh is hired as the head coach and GM, which is what it sounds like he would want. Harbaugh briefly addressed the offseason NFL coaching speculation last week in Houston prior to the Paul Bear Bryant Award ceremony. It's a little more enjoyable this year compared to the rumors last year, said Harbaugh. And also you get the pay cut that Harbaugh had, and definitely, even though Harbaugh, of course, said he'd do this job for free, he obviously wants that money back after going 12-2. And I think that Michigan should give him a new contract. They should pay him more. They should give him more power. They should devote more money to the football program, seeing what Jim Harbaugh can do, empower him more to succeed. I mean, going from 2-4 to 12-2 is pretty amazing. And especially seeing the staff he's assembled, some of the recruiting momentum, just the new energy and culture within the program, he has somewhat changed. Somewhat, it's not entirely proven yet, changed as a head coach for the better. And he also beat Ohio State and reached the playoff. Thamel also said that Harbaugh has always kept his eye on the NFL. He was elite as an NFL coach, building the 49ers from a losing franchise to a winning one within his first year, reaching the Super Bowl and nearly winning it, only losing to his brother, John Harbaugh, and the Ravens in the second year. So it's interesting to me. I'm going to link this article and the other one from Bleacher Report down below, and I'll also link one from The Spun by Sports Illustrated down below. It's a simple report talking about Jim Harbaugh having a phone call with the Bears, which a lot of people are dismissing as a rumor, but NFL fans and especially Bears fans are eating this up and are getting a little excited. This is really all I have to say. There's not much to talk about on this topic because we can speculate, we can ramble on, we can talk about what little we know, the facts and possibilities that surround why Jim Harbaugh might want to leave for the NFL or stay at Michigan, or why he might be leveraging Michigan, all of which I've just talked about. We know very, very little. Very little. This is not like talking about statistics of a player or a team, talking about a matchup or the transfer portal, moves, recruiting, or whatever. This is kind of in an unknown area, and this is who Jim Harbaugh is and really what he always has been, is this kind of unknown character, hard to predict. And if I had to make a prediction right now about where he's going to go, I personally, it's safer to say Michigan. But if he went to the NFL, seeing what he did at the 49ers and seeing how much buzz he's getting this year, it would not shock me at all. And that's all I have to say for this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you disagree with my prediction or want to discuss with me, just comment your thoughts on this video down below, and I will be happy to reply. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you can get notified when I go live. I'll be going live for the Super Bowl and possibly for March Madness as well. So if you're interested in those, I tell you, hit that notification bell and you will not be disappointed. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys around. Bye.